Shalom, brothers and sisters. I pray that Abba Yahuwah has you all doing well. I have been taking a break, not really been on TikTok very much. I just can't seem to take in all the things that are on this app. The amount of false doctrine that is spread it blows my mind. And I know that there's nothing new under the sun, but just when I feel like I've heard all of the ridiculous amount of things that I could possibly take in, I hear something else and I'm just dumbfounded. I've just been trying to, stick with Abba, because just when you think that somebody is, in the faith, and I know we're just trying to figure out Yahuwah's truth, and we're just trying to walk in his truth. So I don't fault people for, we all must be willing to be corrected. But the amount of people that are, 1 minute they say one thing, and then the very next day they're saying the complete opposite. I feel like many of us should just be quiet and continue to read and pray and allow Abba to teach us, because it just makes me feel like, and I too have been unstable in my belief. Just for an example, I used to think that I wasn't obedient to Yahuwah's Torah at all, but I used to think that as I started to obey, I started to keep his feasts, and then I took in other people's opinion, which is also something that I see on TikTok. People saying that you don't need to keep the feasts, that you can't keep them. This is just my personal example. And so I began to pray and ask the Father, and then I started just not doing them. I was doing them, then I began not doing them. And I look back, and without a doubt, Yahuwah gave me over to what I wanted to believe. Our minds are distorted, and our heart is desperately wicked. And if we lean on our own understanding, we will totally be led astray. And I was led astray. I was not keeping his feast days. If you're not doing all of what Abba says, then you are not being obedient to him. We can't just pick and choose what we do. And so for me to be able to look back on my personal part of my testimony of Yahuwah giving me over to what I wanted to believe, it's a scary place out here. It honestly is. And my heart it continues to ache for the people who are, they say not denying the Messiah, but they're going back and looking in the scriptures as though he's not there. And YahuSha is hidden for a reason. Only Abba reveals who YahuSha is. And you cannot approach Yahuwah with a preconceived mind of, that YahuSha didn't exist, that he was never prophesied to come, and just like all of these things. This man existed. Historically, this man existed. And everything that he said and did was to point us back to the Father and the Father's will, which is obedience. He never did anything on his own. And so for all these people saying that YahuSha didn't exist, that none of the prophecies about him are actually about him, it blows my mind. We shouldn't even be listening to this. I mean, I love my brothers and sisters, but once you come to deny our King who came in the name of Yahuwah, we're no longer family. Yahuwah is just separating us left and right. And my mind is at rest because I know who YahuSha was. And Yahuwah alone reveals that to you. And I have had conversations with people who, say that they won't deny the Messiah, and then they just go back into the Tanakh and they study from a point of view as though he was never supposed to come. And it just, the scary thing is is when Yahuwah gives us over to something we don't know. And if we knew, all of the people who are in these other religions would know that they're not actually with the Creator. They're not obeying the Creator. He gives them over to believe what they want to believe. Just like he did me when I thought that we didn't have to keep the feasts. We need to keep the feasts because they're a rehearsal for the wedding banquet to the Messiah. There's just so many things. I don't even know what to say anymore or what to do. Just guard yourselves. Guard what it is that Yahuwah has taught you so far and hold on to it. Don't let the confusion that these people cause in your minds cause you to stray from what Yahuwah originally revealed to you. Because there's so much false doctrine, it's just easy to get swept away. I'm going to continue being obedient to Yahuwah and remember YahuSha and who he was and what he did for us. All he did was teach us the spiritual intent of the Torah, the deeper meaning of the Torah. It went from physical rehearsals to the spiritual intent. That's all YahuSha did, was teach us the deeper meaning of the Torah. I cannot wrap my head around what is going on, and it's very alarming. It just made me think of the verses of an unstable man. And I can say personally that I have been unstable in my belief because it's tricky out here learning, how to obey the Creator when you didn't even know that you needed to in the first place. So I just wanted to read out of James 1. I'll start on verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask Yahuwah, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to him. This part really got me. But when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think he will receive anything from Yahuwah. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. This verse really got me because me personally, I have been unstable in my belief. And I'm seeing a lot of people who are trying to process what Yahuwah is teaching them, and they're processing it along with everybody else, like trying to figure it out. And this causes us to be unstable. Because when Yahuwah shows us something, then we take in somebody else's opinion that he may have not even revealed that specific thing to them. Then we're taking in their understanding, and I don't even know. It's confusing. It's confusing. And there's too many people talking like they know, and they don't know. And I will say that I am so thankful that Yahuwah did not allow me to, try to talk to people or share what he has taught me when I was just barely learning. Because I would have been telling people, keep the feasts. No, don't keep the feasts. You don't have to. To now going back to do keep the feasts. That's how you rehearse the wedding. And if we don't keep the feasts, we're not rehearsing the wedding. So we won't even be invited to the wedding banquet. If I would have tried to share what he was showing me, I would have been unstable. And that's what I'm seeing in a lot of people. 1 minute, they're for the Messiah and they're teaching what he came to do. And then the next minute, they're saying that he did not exist, that there's no purpose for him. All the stuff that he said was a lie. He put himself above the Father, and just all of these things that are untruths. YahuSha never did anything but the will of Yahuwah. And everything he did, he gave glory to Yahuwah. He didn't take glory for himself. I understand that people have a issue with the New Testament, but Yahuwah would not have allowed us to have what we have if it wasn't for a specific purpose. Even in Jeremiah 8:8, it says, you think you have the Torah of Yahuwah, but the lying pen of the scribes has made it a lie. So if you're going to hold that, understanding of the New Testament is a lie, why are you not saying that the Torah is a lie too? I don't understand this. We take it as a whole. I know we don't have certain books because the Catholic Church has destroyed many of the writings. I understand that. But if you stick with Yahuwah and you ask him for his wisdom, don't doubt. He will give it to you. And once he shows it to you, don't be unstable in your mind, wavering back and forth like what he showed you wasn't true. Because if you do that, he'll take it away. And then you don't know. You're just unstable. And all of us who are out here trying to be obedient, follow the Messiah's example, only worship the Father, and follow the way to his eternal kingdom, we're all out here looking like, why are you guys jumping ship? What is going on? If I could give advice, it would be to get off of social media. Go back to just sticking with Yahuwah. I mean, the lies of the church and them turning YahuSha's story into a complete and total lie and, turning it into what we have of Jesus Christ. I get that can be very, like a slap in the face. You've been lied to. You believed a lie, and then because you believed a lie, Yahuwah gave you over to it. I was there. I completely understand. But you don't just completely disregard the life of this man because the church made him a lie. He is not a lie. He came in the name of our Father to teach us the deeper truths of our Father's Torah and how to inherit our Father's kingdom. Each covenant had a signatory. Adam, Abraham, Moses, David, YahuSha. All of these people were the signatories of their specific covenant. And we are in the YahuSha covenant, the renewed covenant. And YahuSha is the signatory of that covenant. So I get that you only want the Father, but you cannot disregard the man that he put in place to show you how to inherit his kingdom. You have to take it as a whole. It's progressive revelation. Yahuwah progressively revealed his truth and his plan of salvation to mankind little by little. We didn't all just get it at once. It was revealed slowly, little by little. And when YahuSha came, he came to teach us the spiritual intent of the Torah. We're so physical because we're human, so we look for the physical in everything. But YahuSha came to show us how to lay our lives down as living sacrifices. We are lambs of Yahuwah, just like YahuSha was, and our life is a living sacrifice. You either lay your life down, your will down, and you follow the Father's will for you and you obey, or you live this life the way that you want, and this life becomes your reward. There is no reward if you are disobedient to the Creator. This life is your reward. What you have here is your reward. And YahuSha gave up his will. He gave up, his inheritance. He wasn't just a carpenter's son. He carried two specific royal bloodlines within his body. A king line and a priest line. And he gave up his will for the Father's will because he knows that this life, it ends. So he was willing to sacrifice his will for the Father's will. Isn't that what we all have to do? I'm just not understanding why people are denying the Messiah, the actual Messiah. We need to deny the false Messiah, which is an image, a false image of who YahuSha was. Jesus Christ is the false image of the true Messiah. Now, with that knowledge that if Yahuwah gives it to you, you don't then go and deny the actual Messiah. You deny the false version. People are just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And it's just, it makes my heart ache. Where do we go from here? It just makes me feel like all of us claim that we hear from the Father and that He teaches us these things. And then you see these people, you know, try and talk about one thing one day, and then the next day they're saying something completely opposite. Like, hello, what are you doing? Process this stuff on your own, quiet, not on social media. You look ridiculous. You're all back and forth in your belief, and you don't see it because Yahuwah's not going to allow you to see it. If you don't know something and you want to know, ask Yahuwah. He will teach you. And when He does, don't deny it. We're not supposed to lean on our own understanding. It's to our own detriment when we do. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to deny YahuSha. And when I see Him, I will bow at His feet. And it's not because I worship Him and I hold Him higher than Yahuwah, because I don't. I respect Him and His authority that Yahuwah gave Him as our King. He is the proxy of Yahuwah. We're told to worship the Creator, Yahuwah, and that is exactly what YahuSha taught us to do. He didn't teach us to worship Him. He didn't teach us that He was part of a Trinity. He didn't teach us all of these things that people spout left and right. It just makes me sad. It's crazy out here. And I just pray that Yahuwah would continue to guard our hearts and minds, and that He would keep us in His truth. For those of you who are with me and not going to deny YahuSha, may Yahuwah continue to protect you and bless you with His wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I pray that you all be blessed. Shalom.